Yeah. Well, that in the end.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Clay County Youth Commission's Meet the Candidate, a program of the Clay County Office of Youth Services. My name is Youth Commissioner Sophia Nguyen, and I will be one of your facilitators for today.
Hello, my name is Youth Commissioner Robert Taylor, and I will also be serving as one of your facilitators.
We cannot forget to acknowledge the Office of Youth Services staff who serve as the vessel of support for our youth commission. Ms. Nicole Moore, who is one of the administrators of the Office of Youth Services. Ms. Naomi Jordan, who is the administrator assistant. Ms. Sierra Dunn, who serves as a program coordinator. And Ms. Ashley Kapuga, who serves as the program supervisor.
Before we introduce our panelists, we have a few housekeeping listed up. Youth commissioners have prepared questions for our panelists. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer each question. We will give you a 2-minute, 1-minute, 30-second warning. We will then take questions from our in-person audience and our virtual audience. Each of you should have received a comment card as you signed in. If not, please raise your hand and one of the youth commissioners will make sure you receive one. If you have any questions for our panelists, please write your question on the comment card and we will pick it up and make sure your question is answered. For our virtual audience, please write your questions in a direct message in the chat and we will make sure your question is answered. We ask that you respect our panelists, do not shut up any questions, and give each candidate your undivided attention.
Our panelists today are Arvis Walker, Emmett McCord, Eddie Gordon, Jacqueline DeVoe, Alana Reeves, and Ramel Willis. All 7 candidates were invited to participate in today's forum. Now let's give our panelists a round of applause. My name is Youth Commissioner Parliamentarian Michaela Hodges, and I'll be the timekeeper today.
For our first question, can you tell us why you are running for District 1 Commissioner and your background/experiences that make you suitable for the position of District Commissioner? We'll start with Ms. Reeves.
Thank you. Hey y'all, my name is Elena Reeves, and Clayton County is home for me. I grew up here, I was raised here, I got quality education here. And I had a chance to travel all around the country and even travel a little bit around the world. But when I came back to Clayton County, sadly, it had looked relatively the same as when I left. Lack of sidewalks. While I was gone, we lost C-Tran, and although we gained MARTA, we still need more access to public transit. We have dilapidated buildings and vacant storefronts, and there is so much opportunity and so much potential here in Clayton County. And it hurt my heart to see our county fall so far behind the rest of the places that I had an opportunity to live and gain experience in, including in Washington, D.C., where I worked under the late Congressman John Lewis at the U.S. Capitol, working at the White House with President and First Lady Barack and Michelle Obama. And even coming back here in Georgia, working at the state capitol as the chief of staff for House Minority Leader Carolyn Dugley and under the leadership and tutelage of Minority Leader Stacey Abrams. And 4 years ago, making history as the youngest woman to be elected statewide to represent Clayton County and to represent Georgia as a Democratic National Committee. And it's with this experience and it's with this passion that I am running to serve you all, community and residents here in Clayton County District 1. Because public service runs through my blood. My father served 27 years as a firefighter, and my mom was a public school teacher. It's no surprise that I want to join them in the ranks of in public service. I also know I want to be thorough. I want to make sure that I'm telling you all who I am and why I'm best suited to represent you all as District 1 County Commissioner here in Clayton County. So my relationships and my connections, they expand nationally, but my heart is here in Clayton County. My heart is here in District 1, and it's with my passion and my experience that I hope to serve you all as your county commissioner for District 1. Again, my name is Elena Reese, and I look forward to answering your questions from tonight's youth commission. And I want to congratulate them on an incredible series of forums that they have had for this quite lengthy ballot that we have coming up. Thank you.
Good evening, youth commission. Good evening. I want to first thank God, for without him, none of this is possible. My journey started not as a politician or a career candidate. My journey started as a regular citizen. A citizen of Clayton County for over a decade. Not only that, but this is who we chose. My wife of 14 years has chosen to be our home, to raise 3 amazing children. One, our oldest is a sophomore at Clark Atlanta University, a business major. My second is a graduating senior at Steelville School of the Arts and has amassed over $250,000 of scholarships. My baby son, with my namesake, is an AV honor at Cape Pace Elementary and is a 2-time Kid State placer in wrestling. He definitely twisted my arm to make sure I said that, okay? But the reason why I ran is because I was tired of the same status quo. I was tired of complaining about what's not happening or what is happening. My wife said to me, as we looked at the list of candidates, she said, the ones that can, do. And the ones that can't, talk about the ones that can. So you either step up or you continue to sit on the sidelines and talk about the ones that do. So God then gave me that purpose and said, hey, you are qualified. You graduated top of your class in your high school in DeKalb County. You graduated from Morehouse with a bachelor's degree in psychology and a minor degree in criminal justice. You are understanding youth of vision and youth development and community service. Therefore, then I taught you how to run a business. A success business right here in Clayton County. We'll have talked to and did plumbing work for over 1,000 of the residents here. Where we was able to also talk and engage in the things that's going on with this county. And then today I stand before you, not as a candidate, but as your friend, as a neighbor, as the one that's willing to put in the work, so that we can make the changes and put our community first, so that we can see the changes that we want in this county. And that is why I'm the best candidate to be your next Clayton County District 1 Commissioner.
People first. People first. Hi, my name is Hackman Debo. You can call me Debo. I'm a resident of Clayton County here in District 1. My family and I moved here because we saw the potential and all that was going on and the excitement. Above all the noise that was going on in Clayton County, we knew that this was a place of home for us. So as I moved into the community, I became the HOA president of our subdivision, Promenade at Rex Ridge. It is there that I began to really see the workings of what was happening and what was not happening here in District 1. I'm running all the time and I work, live, and play in this area. And I go to some of the parks in the other district and I see a vast difference. And I'm thinking, why is it different here in District 1 than perhaps the other district? Something is lacking. There's an imbalance here. So I began to look at how we are pro-business and We should leverage that asset as far as bringing commerce here, but we've left the people behind. And so that's why I run. I'm running for people first. I have 25 years of public service experience in DeKalb County, doing this very thing, only I was on the other side of the table. I work with the commissioner of DeKalb County as an administrator in both the finance department and also the water department, and also treasury and accounting. So I'm familiar with the apparatuses that constrain public policy. But there we can still make a change, and I want to see that change. Clayton County is a great place to live, and I believe that, and I have a passion for that. I have a master's degree in theology, and that just taught me, as far as my faith, that you engage in your community. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army military, and so I understand service of country. So my love for country, my love for Christ, my love for this community, that's what motivates me to run. But we gotta have a balance. Yes, let's bring economic growth here, but let's not forget the residents here. Because when business leaves, we're still here. And I retired here, and I'm gonna stay here, and I see a great potential. So I would love your support. I would love to work as your servant leader. Because how can we lead the community if we don't hear from the people? So I will be available to you, and I thank you for your support.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Youth Commission for having us. You guys are doing such a valuable work to the community, so I just want to say thank you. My name is Dr. Eddie Gordon, and I'm going to first tell you about my experience because it ties me to why I decided to get into the race. I spent 10 years in social work on special investigations, child fatalities, also employees fraud, taking money from the government. Then from there, I went and developed a program at Atlanta Metropolitan State College. They were first a 2-year school. When they became a 4-year school, I developed a whole entire criminal justice bachelor program. While I was at Atlanta Metropolitan State College, I decided to put myself in the police academy because, again, we have a lot of crime in the metro area. So not one single dime cost the taxpayers. I put myself in the academy. Then from there, which is where I currently am, I manage the university department for 80,000 researchers, police chiefs, sheriffs, FBI agents, all the whole gamut of researchers from my home because they're all over the whole entire United States. I manage a budget that's 7 figures, 7 figures range, and my student population is just under 3,000 in my home. So what actually brought me into this position was that I have a 3-year-old daughter, I'm a single father, and so I don't know about you guys that are watching online or even here, but I got my tax bill last year from $3,500 to $6,000. That didn't me. Because every single time I would listen to the commission meetings and I would see them go into executive sessions, the only thing they talked about was litigation. And so I'm sitting up thinking, if we're always in litigation, we're getting sued. Who's the brunt of this? We are as a taxpayers, because here in Clayton County, I'm not sure if you guys know, that 90% of our funding is coming from taxpayers. And so renters, even though if you rent your home, you don't necessarily think that you're affected, you actually are affected because when they raise the rent up on the property owners, that trickles down to you as renters. And so what made me want to get into this position is that I'm going to be honest and transparent, is that I saw a lot of conflict of interest at the Board of Commissioners, where people were sitting up there hiring their friends to be on these boards, zoning boards, you name it. And because they were hiring their friends, it causes deleterious effects down the line where we as citizens, we're paying on the back end. So even though we don't necessarily think about it, when somebody hires a friend, when they hire somebody else who's not qualified, don't have a degree, just because they have a family pedigree, because their family's been in politics a long time, that does not mean you should be the county commissioner. And so that's why I'm running, because I'm not tied to anybody. So
Your
that's
time is up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Not sure if the mic is on or not. Can you hear me okay? All right. Well, again, I'd like to congratulate the youth commission as well. This is great and this is wonderful. I know that you all need a lot of support, and I think outreach is a part of that process. We need to know what more about you. You need to know more about us. Why am I running? I'm running because the Lord has released me to do this work. I've been working in the community for years, all of my life. I'm from Atlanta. I'm a favorite son of the Edgewood community. Many of you all know where Edgewood is. I've lived in Atlanta pretty much all of my life. I've been involved in developing community programs throughout the city of Atlanta. And so my talent, my time served has been primarily in Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived in Clayton County probably for about 12 to 15 years. Now we live in the Diamond Meadows subdivision. But I have been involved in serving the community from business president for the Campbellton Road Business Association to Quality Living Services and Senior Center Advocate Group in Southwest Atlanta, where we developed 3 full gated communities for seniors, which is a long process. I was the youth coordinator for the second term for Maynard Jackson's second administration. So I've worked with young people, I've worked with seniors, I've worked with businesses. I own my own business for 30 years. An electronic security firm called Report Protection Services Corporation. And we had contracts all over the state, all over the city, and in most metropolitan counties. I started the first electronic security firm in the state of Georgia. So, and I was certified with the state. So we did a lot of business with the state in North Carolina as well. I've been involved in business, of course, because that's what I had to do growing up in the 60s and the 70s. There weren't a lot of opportunities like we have now for our young people. And I'm glad about that. But I was always one of those people who had to find my way and push my way up and serve people. As a favorite son out of Edgewood, my growing up was about serving people and being with people and being supported by people and serving others. So it's not strange for me. Since I've been here, I was president of Rotary Club for the Atlanta Airport Rotary Club. I'm on the board of the Atlanta Airport Chamber of Commerce right now. I have.
Your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Artis Walker, and again, I would like to say thank you to the commissioners and everyone that was involved with you all. Why am I running? Because I was chosen. Because I was chosen. Many are called and few are chosen. I did not think that I would end up in this line of work, but because I am a servant, Artis means the people's friend. And I have been serving in this community in many capacities for many years. I was the board of elections chairperson. I am now the Clayton County Council of PTA president. I have served on many of the boards. I have my own business, several businesses with my amazing husband. I'm a mother of 6, a nana of 4, and I am truly honored to be a part of this community. Why am I running? Because I know that we deserve more opportunities, more progress, and more success. And that is the reason that I'm running. Why am I running? Because I know that my neighbors are afraid to walk out of the door. Why am I running? Because we are not going to settle anymore. Why am I running? Because God has put me on this path to be a better servant in this community. I have ran in the pandemic. We served over 5,000 citizens in our community. I am proud to be a citizen of Clayton County. As your dedicated candidate, I'm committed to be there and address these issues that you have. I am, really excited to be a part of this community. And I just want you guys to know that this is not something, I don't think that a lot of us, we wake up and we say, okay, we're gonna, be a politician. We wake up and say, we're gonna be a better person. We wake up and say, we want to serve our community. And that is exactly what I'm here to do. Serve my community so that we can have more opportunities, more progress, and more success. And that is why I am running.
The next question is going to start with Mr. Willis. How will you work with the chairperson of the board and other commissioners to better the county as a whole?
Thank you for that question. When I hear that question, the first thing that comes to my mind is teamwork makes the dream work. And united we stand and divided we fall. Oh, here we go. And so the way I work with them is first by having one common goal. And that is to enrich the quality of life for our citizens, my neighbors, the residents here in Clayton County District 1 and all over. Secondly, we will listen to one another. And even though we may have differences, we'll keep that common thread. Is to move Clayton County forward. And like a well-oiled machine, we need each and every board member and the chair to continue to grind it out. Late nights, early mornings, just to make sure that the citizens, you, the people of District 1, get what they need by engaging with the community and bringing forth and being your voice. Because I'm gonna bring the District 1 issue to the board, to the chair, and make sure that I advocate loudly for you. I will continue to work hard without myself in mind. Even though, yes, I'm a resident here, and I have the same issues that we all see, but I will always look at each and every one, every door that I knocked on, every resident, every neighbor that I see in Walmart and Kroger. Then I'm gonna keep that in mind every step of the way. Because this is who I do it for, this is why we do it, this is why we stand up here and be able to be the next Clayton County District 1 Commissioner. So I will continue to listen, I will continue to engage, and I will continue to work hard for everyone in this room and throughout District 1.
Mr. DeVoe.
People first. I would walk in that meeting with my fellow commissioners and remind them that we're here to serve the people. We're not here for our own egos. We're not here for our own agendas. We're here because the people entrusted us to handle the business of the county, to move the county forward. So when I begin to think about getting everybody on one accord, we can begin to have that conversation and that dialogue. Does that mean we're gonna agree with everything? No, absolutely not. We can agree to disagree and not be disagreeable. We can put aside party politics and all of these other things that drag leadership down. If we keep the thought that it's the people who comes first, we can begin to build a coalition. And at that point, we develop an agenda, we develop policies, and we bring the people into the conversation. So far, I'm just as a resident as well, I'm not excited when decisions are made absent of the people of the citizenry. I think that in a multitude of council, there is wisdom, but we don't have all the answers, but collectively we do. So we bring the people in, whether it's by vote, whether it's by town hall, wherever that is, we bring the people in and we have that dialogue and we handle those issues. And then we begin to prioritize what will have the most immediate impact on whatever those issues are. So that way, no one gets forgotten about. Again, We are servant leaders. We're here to serve the community. Not be above or look down our noses at these citizens. So I think it again, just respecting the fact that we're here to serve the people first. Thank you.
Dr. Morgan.
Sure. Thank you so much. To be honest, so for this particular seat, what's gonna happen is the day after the election, whoever wins, will probably happen a week or two, that person's gonna be sworn in. And that person's gonna have to go to Judge Turner. Judge Turner's gonna be our chair until December 31st. And then comes in, hopefully a new elected chair. So how do I plan on working with Chief, I call him Chief, just because all people themselves as Chief. So how do I plan on working with Chief Turner is doing what I do daily, and that's represent people. One thing I want people to understand about me is that I don't have any biases or any preconceived notions about people. Oftentimes, when people get in political positions, they pick a side. And when they pick a side, they tend to cut off people that disagree with them. That's not my style, that's not what I believe in. And so I will continue to work with Chief Turner, who was sworn in the second week. The same when it comes to January 1st. Whoever's gonna be the chair when it comes to January 1st was one of the 4 individuals. I must say I've met all of them except one, and to be honest, every single person I've met, I cannot say nothing negative about because it's not who I am. And I'm pretty positive I can work well with them. One thing I want to stress is that I'm going to represent the people. Throughout this whole entire night, you're going to hear about leadership. And what's going to distinctly separate me from my peers is that I'm not going to use leadership. Because with leaders, they expect people to follow them. I actually want to represent people. That's why I've spent a bulk of my time in the community, making phone calls, knocking on doors. When I go to somebody's door, I call them by their name. I'm just not sitting up there asking for your vote. So I'm gonna be a representative. And as a representative of the people, one thing I'm gonna say crystal clear to Chief Turner and also the people, January 1 is that we're sick and tired of these gas stations. We're tired of these gas stations, we're tired of these disco centers, we're sick and tired of dog parks. When people 2 miles down the road are becoming homeless. An example, I know I have 47, I'm using them. When we have a dog park on Grant Road, they were celebrating a couple 69, 70 years old, living on Social Security. They have to go back and work at the FedEx across the street because their rent is above $2,000. So stuff like that, I'm going to present to whoever the commissioner is. I don't necessarily, whoever the chair is, I don't care. But one thing I am going to do is be crystal clear that I'm representing the people. And I don't expect that people come to me. I'm actually going to go to the people like I've been doing since January 1.
Dr. McCord.
So the question is, how will I work with the chair? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will work with the chair because he is the chair, but working with the chair does not mean that I have the same plan as the chair. I would represent District 1. And I think there's a cultural change that needs to happen on the board. I'm not going to pretend between now and the first of the year when the new commissioners are sworn in that things should not change. They need to change as soon as I'm in my seat, because I'm a change agent. I'm the kind of person who make things happen. And when I've heard about what needs to happen, I'm not afraid of bringing it to the table, sharing it, pushing forward, doing whatever needs to be that is ethical, accountable, and also with integrity. But I'm a very bold and strong person. That is my personality. That's what God made. That's how he made me. So I know the commissioner. We know each other. We've known each other. We have worked together. We're friendly. But when it comes to the work that needs to be done, we have to deal with that on a separate basis. I would represent you. So that would mean making sure that he understands what you want to do and why. And if he doesn't agree, then we just have to go into an adversarial position. The board is a board, so the majority of the board should make the decision. That's fine, as long as the people get an opportunity to have input as well before the decision is even put on the table. I believe in transparency. I believe that we should make sure that there's open communication with those who are directly affected and those who are affected in District 1. Have an opportunity to share what your feelings are. Document that and put that before the board in the subcommittees. Not have all of the arguments out in front of the board at the decision-making time. That shouldn't happen. So I'm not going to come up with a decision at the end. I got 30 seconds and change my mind. I'm going to be out front that that's not something that I can agree with. If it's something that I cannot agree with, if it's something I can agree with, I will say that. But I am definitely not going to sit back and allow things to happen. I will be a representative of the people, and I'm true to my word. I am who I am. Thank you.
Ms. Walker?
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to the constituents. Thank you all for coming out, taking the time to come out and to listen to the candidates that are going to be possibly representing you as a commissioner. So I wanted to give you guys that for coming out. But how would I work with the commissioner, the chairperson? How am I going to work with the chair? I'm going to do the triple C process that I've been doing all around the county, which is care, compromise, and collaborate. Caring means that you take action, you show action, you go in there and you speak to them with respect. We're going to respect one another. Compromise, we gotta give a little to take a little. When we go in there as representing District 1, hey, I'm going there representing District 1. After we have conversations to say, okay, what do you guys want, or what do you not want in our county, in our district? To collaborate, we've got to collaborate amongst different businesses so that we can bring the businesses and environmental businesses and things like that we want in our county. So how am I going to work with the chairperson? I'm going to care, compromise, and collaborate. I'm going to make sure that he understands what is needed, what is wanted in District 1. And those are the things that I'm going to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary, okay. My fellow colleague on stage is correct. After this election on May 21st, the District 1 commissioner will be sat immediately because that seat right now is vacant. And how would I work with the current chair? Well, I'll say that we're in a unique position because whoever wins that May 21st election, they'll be serving with the current chair. And for the first time in a decade, Clayton County will have a new chairperson at their helm. And there is an opportunity for us to make sure that we are engaging our residents in a way that everyone feels like their voices can be heard. But one of the first things that I would do as a commissioner who is ready on day one is to go over the budget. One of the main responsibilities for the county commissioner for the entire county commission is to oversee and enact a budget. It's budget season right now. The current fiscal year 2025 budget is currently under review, and that means that with our vacancy in District 1, the District 1 residents, their voices are not being heard and during this critical time when the entire commission is reviewing the budget. So after this election, the first thing that I would do is to make sure that all the District 1 residents, to make sure that they attend the public hearings that are going to be coming up for the 2025 fiscal year budget. That should be coming up in about a month or so. So we'll be in the midst of this election, but that is why it's incredibly imperative that everyone in this room make sure that you're bringing your neighbors, your families, and your friends to come out to make sure that your voices are heard. Even tonight, there is a forum another forum, where they're going over the 2034 comprehensive plan. Now, I've attended 3 out of 4 meetings, I couldn't make one tonight, it's virtual, and I encourage everyone who's in this room and everyone who's tuned in online to go to the website, futureforwardclayton.com, and to submit your input to make sure that your voice, is heard. I think I'll. Thank you.
Our next question is, what do you see as the most significant challenges facing this group currently, and what are your plans to solve them? We will start with Mr. DeVoe.
People first, we're gonna always lead with that. How that is played out and lived out in Clayton County. I'm looking at how our district, our zoning and all that allows us to, by the laws and policies that are made, either attract businesses or build residency. I think we need to re-examine how we are zoned. Clayton County is, we have the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, which is a great asset, and it is very attractive to businesses to come here. And we should leverage that asset. However, I think we've been too business-centered, business-heavy, and people are left behind. So I think it is imperative that we begin to look at how we are zoned and how the district is laid out. Because in the end, ultimately, we're not attracting people to this county. And it is people who are gonna sustain this county. It is people who bear the brunt of the taxes. So we need to be mindful and cognizant as leadership to begin to see how can we become attractive, that people want to move here, like me, raise a family here, like me, and retire and have our kids grow up in this community. Because again, I would love to see where we can have a work, live, and play. I've seen this done in communities. It can be turned around. I grew up in the East Lake Meadows era back in the early 70s. And that place was truly a war zone. But if you go there now, they have changed and turned it around. It is a very attractive place to live, work, and play. And we can do the same here for Clayton County in District 1. I would love for us to have sidewalk where I can jog from my front door to a local park and back without being afraid of being run over by a huge transfer truck or heavy traffic. Very well lit place where we can play, where our kids can have a place where they can grow and thrive. And also our seniors, I encounter seniors walking as well, and their concern is that they have been forgotten about. So I think our priority would be look at how we are zoned and look at rezoning and districting, how our policies are played out. We want to draw families here, because again, people first, that is how we become successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So the biggest pressing issue we have here is one I would even say in Clayton County is we're going on uncharted territory. And specifically what I mean by that is that we're creating a new form of homelessness for our seniors. So it used to be that for our seniors who were 65 and older, you would get that tax, you would get exempt from the school tax. You may primarily pay that local tax. What's actually happening now is that because our taxes are so high, specifically for seniors, so we thought, we would, drop that school tax, that would be good to go. It'd be good for life. But now, because our taxes are going up, we're having investors come in and revive these houses. What's happening is they're inflating the market super high, and our seniors are more on fixed incomes. They're getting to reach into a realm of potential homelessness. So that's the biggest issue we're running into. So what would I do to fix that? And I've even mentioned this to some of the commissioners, is that for seniors, I would want it for everybody, but seniors, because they're that vulnerable population. I think we should have a homestead valuation freeze on the property taxes. And so people are saying, well, we give them a homestead, they already have a homestead exemption. What this is the life of the senior that's in that home. Their property tax will not increase until the main base rate through the life that they're in that home. Get this, you guys, Clayton County is the only county that does not offer that to our seniors. DeKalb County, Fulton County, Columbus, Georgia, Muskogee, Savannah. So when you think about precedents, and some of my counterparts, they're not talking about some of that stuff, but I'm really not joking when I say we're getting ready to create a new population of homeless seniors. And so while everybody's talking about some, oh, we need to bring business in, we need to focus on our seniors. Because these people work all their lives.
That's right.
And because they work all their lives, here we are sitting up here, debating about, should we help them? Should we increase their taxes? Let me make it very plain. I'm sorry. It's my phone. Let me make it very crystal clear. We need to protect our seniors. And the reason why we need to protect our seniors is because they work all their life to get where they are. So what we can at least do is show them appreciation and provide them some type of valuation freeze in their property taxes. Yes, thank you so much.
Well, what I consider the primary issues in District 1 at this time is starting with housing is number one. In my mind, the issues are many dealing with housing. But I like to target our seniors as well as my counterpart here mentioned, because the seniors are the most vulnerable. We need to focus on making sure that our our seniors are taken care of. They're not being taken care of now. The budget with our board of commissioners is focused on a lot of things, but not on the seniors. We can spend $1.5 billion for adding us to the election on the 21st, but you make that decision, but you don't tell us about it, board. But where are the decisions regarding our seniors? And there needs to be some interaction, there needs to be some clarity, and there needs to be some focus on seniors. The seniors situation is the same as our homeless population. They're going by the wayside because the board is not focused on the baseline of our community, of our people, of our citizens. We need to make sure that the board puts enough budget money and focus and programs on the homeless and also the seniors. There are a lot of things that can be done. There are a lot of grants that are available. It's been done before, it's not rocket science, but the issue is focus. I like work, live, and play, and like new businesses, and all of that. And I know we spend a lot of money outside of Clayton County because we don't have the shops. We don't have the locations here, so we have to go spend the money somewhere else. But if we take care of our foundation, which is our children and our seniors, we can then begin to build on something that's solid. But if we continue to put the horse before the cart, we're going to have a problem. The cart before the horse. So we're going to continue to have a problem. And that's what we have right now. We cry about gentrification. Well, this time we're causing gentrification. We're causing the taxes to go up and allowing them to go up. We're allowing the developers to come in and buy up all the property because people can't afford to pay them. I got 30 seconds left. I want you to know that the problems, I understand what they are. I also understand it's going to be a battle to change that because we got to change the culture. And you need someone who will fight the fight and will go after the problems and make sure that things work out for you. Thank you.
Thank you. So the problems that I have been hearing as I make phone calls and as I go around and talk to constituents is the warehouses. We don't want any more warehouses in District 1. Beautification. We want the trash that is around our neighborhoods, we've got to clean up our neighborhoods. But in order for us to do that and attract people to come into our community, we're gonna have to do that. Public safety. People are addressing this public safety. We've got to talk to our law enforcement, our agencies to come into our communities and work with us. You know, we've got to address the workforce housing. You know, we don't want any more apartments built in our community. We want workforce housing so that we can afford to live in these houses because we deserve that. You know, some of the things that people are saying is that, hey, artists, what's going on with all of these warehouses? What's going on with this tier 1? When are we gonna get out of this tier 1 situation? The way we're gonna get out of this tier 1 situation is when we attract more businesses, we attract more constituents to move into our county. How do we do that? We clean it up. We bring more small businesses. We uplift our small businesses. We can't forget about the small businesses. They're keeping us going. You know, so another thing is that we just want to keep working on lifting up one another. You know, so those are the things, just the warehouses, beautification, and public safety. Let's work with our law enforcement agencies. Thank you.
So I want to be really specific when I say that one of the #1 issues that we need to address in District 1 is zoning and being specific about it. What we need to do is we need to overhaul our entire zoning map. If you look at it in its current state, it prioritizes those warehouses and those gas stations that everyone is so sick and tired of seeing. Well, if we want to, not just the more important, if we really want to change the landscape of District 1 in Lake County, then we need to prioritize our zoning map, and that encompasses everything. We don't want to have situations where we see on Terra Boulevard, where there's a new housing development, townhouses that are built, which are rental properties and not even properties available for individuals to buy, but it's directly across the street from a warehouse. How do we expect our children to be able to go out and to be independent and to play outside their yard if they have to worry about a tractor trailer coming 60 miles an hour down Terra Boulevard? We know how fast people go down roads like that. So when we talk about zoning, we need to be specific in what we talk about. And in addition to making sure that we are creating a space and a barrier between that industrial and is making sure that we have step down zones so that we're going from industrial to commercial to mixed use. If we want to see live, work, eat, play, then we have to build that into our zoning maps. And that's why at the very fundamental level, we really need to look at what are we prioritizing in Lake County. Because there are certain areas in District 1, we walk out the door and that's all you see, are tractor trailers and trucks. And we want to live in a community that feels like a community. You want to be able to see your neighbors and not be fearful that, you know, there's all this air pollution and noise pollution. Don't get me started on the airplane pollution that we bear the brunt of in the northern part of Clayton County in District 1 and District 2. But when we also talk about zoning, we're talking about housing. Because homelessness is a housing problem. It is a lack of housing. So when we're talking about zoning, we want to talk about being able to build in more communities to make sure that we're fitting in the housing so that, you know, we have a diversity of housing. We want to make sure that we have entry level housing. I bought my house 6 years ago and I was very fortunate to do that. And it was affordable for me. But if I tried to buy in that exact same neighborhood now, I would not be able to afford it. So we need to make sure that we have housing for young families. We need to make sure that we have for individuals, for seniors who want to downsize and to live in smaller housing. Let's make sure that we have a diversity of housing. And all that stems down to zoning. But let's be specific when we say what the issues are and the problems are. Let's also talk about those solutions.
Thank you for that question. One of all great concerns, the senior citizens top priority. But I'm going to come from just a different perspective. The economic development and job creation. being that my background is a small business owner, I was able to establish a business right here in Clayton County, so that I can sustain for my family, my wife, and my 3 children. Provide a college education loan so that they can provide for their family and present a groundwork for them, so that they can have the needs and necessities of life, so they can become homeowners. So supporting the small businesses, and not only that, supporting the businesses that support Clayton County. If the businesses come in here getting tax breaks and messing up the roads, they need to be accountable for those and put back into the county that we stay in. Like they said, we are running the bearing the road, we're bearing the pollution. We are the business that we bring in here. So zoning is high priority on my list. But for helping the small businesses and bringing in the businesses that are attainable, not for just today, but attainable for the future growth of Clayton County. We're in a prime location, that's why we chose it. That's why I'm pretty sure many of you have chosen this place as well. 285, 675, 75. The corridor is right, minutes from Atlanta and minutes from the airport. You can use that and get the right business here. But first we have to do sustainable growth that is gonna be able to affect the changes of our growing environment, the changes for my young son and your grandkids, because they deserve it. And I want to just also invite, be an environmental and have the trees and continue to have that small suburb feeling. The trees, the parks, not only just the businesses, but the play. Okay, I talked to the senior citizens at Grant City Living, and they love just to walk outside and breathe in the fresh air of the trees. They love to go outside and just walk without being afraid of anybody to get safety. So with all those combined, we have to work together in order to get the things that we need done. And that's first by listening to each and every one of your concerns, and also getting a solid plan to make sure we can follow through with every recommendation that we receive. Thank you.
The next question is, what specific strategies do you propose to address the pressing issues facing our district, such as infrastructure improvements, economic development, and community engagement, starting with Dr. Gordon?
Thank you so much for the question. So I'm gonna tag this on in a two-pronged approach. And the first one is that someone brought up zoning, and even to answer your question, that part of the commission's responsibility, there are 3 or 4 central points. And one of the critical points is appointment rate. That's the commissioners to appoint said officers. What's actually been happening is that certain commissioners have been putting their friends on these boards. And so it's been hard to have people who know what they're doing, who know what they're talking about, come up with strategies for development of Clayton County, as I would say. The first thing I would do, one, is that make sure that we have ethics legislation, work with our local Clayton County delegates, and also federal partners, to make sure that we have ethical standards in place. Even though people might not think that's real big, it is because it's hampering us on the lower end. For example, if people are putting their friends on these boards, that's why we can't get people to come to this county. Because again, economic growth is only gonna happen when we have some fresh meat at the table, people who don't have any biases, people who don't have any agendas, people who don't party with people or go to their church, nothing gets said. So we have to start at the small level. The second part, which I also think is a critical piece, is going outside of the county, outside of the country, and even outside of the United States, to a different state or another country. Reason being is because oftentimes, one thing I noticed about the board of commissioners, they have these smaller companies come in, want to car wash, want to open up some type of food court or whatever, food mart, and all that. That's not helping us. That's not sustaining us. It's actually putting more on the property owners of the county, because again, we're running above that work. So that's why, for me, it's going to be important to travel outside of the state and outside of the country to get economic development in, because people are willing to see that you know, a small sort of place outside of Metro Atlanta, Clayton County, that's something we can potentially think about. But it has to happen at a small level where we have some type of executive center in place, and also a couple of veterans. Because let me just be honest, and I'm not trying to call people out, but it's sad when people are put on boards and they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. But they don't have a background, they don't have education.
Say that again.
I would even say, you don't even know how to budget, you don't know what's in a liability or asset. So what we have to do is get all those people, I'm just going to tell you straight up right now. Once elected commissioner, I'm evaluating people who are on these boards. I don't have any friends in the county, not that it's negative. I don't know people. I won't be putting my mother on the board. I won't be putting my best friend on the board because that's not helping us. That's actually helping us a little bit. So that's how we get economic development in the county.
So the question is, I just want to make sure this is what would be my strategic plan for economic development. Okay, thank you.
What specific strategies do you propose to address the pressing issues facing our district, such as infrastructure improvements, economic development, and community engagement?
So we have three parts there. It's very economic development and community engagement. Then here the first one. But the economic development is a overarching concern and issue. That's to bring in more people, more businesses into Clayton County. Well, that's great, but I think we need to put a moratorium on that, or at least look at it and slow it down. Because I believe that the foundation is weak in Clayton County and especially in District 1. And when I say that, I mean that our communities, our people are weak. They're about to lose their homes. They don't have the health services that are available to them because they don't know that the health services are there. Health services that are there, they don't have the tax relief because they haven't had the opportunity to know what is available. And it's been kept quiet, and the commissioners that are presently on the board know about this information, but that's not on the agenda. So it's not talked about and it's not gotten to the people. So we need to make sure that everything that's available gets to you, the consumers, the citizens of District 1. So I would recommend, first of all, that we do a due diligence on what is in the pipe right now. What are they already looking at that they plan to approve? That, you know, we make sure that we stop whatever that doesn't look right or smell right. Because a lot of things are tied to different situations, different people that have nothing to do with us. And so I'm not going to be like down at the commission because I understand what needs to happen and I'm going to make sure that it happens. In terms of community relations, I believe that we have to be very, very transparent. That means to me, in District 1, we have Forest Park, we've got Lake City, we've got Laurel, we've got Ellenwood, we've got a lot of separate areas that are affected. You are leaders in your community, you're smart people. You need to have the information though. You need to put somebody in the office that will make sure that you get the information. I will make sure that you get the information, but there's leaders who are interested in the information so that you can help me decide what I need to take back to the board. That's how this works. That's how we get what needs to be done. I'm sorry, I know that I only have about 30 seconds coming up, but I want you to know. That's it. And I'm gonna give an extra 30 seconds.
What specific strategies do you propose to address the pressing issues facing our district, such as infrastructure improvements, economic development, and community engagement?
Thank you, that's a great question. Strategies that I have for economic development is, first of all, having meetings with my constituents to see what you guys want in your communities and what you don't want in our community. The warehouses, I've been to other areas that are our neighboring counterparts. And they are not just letting those buildings sit there. they're finding ways and means to utilize those buildings. By putting different, businesses in there, allowing the, smaller businesses to utilize those warehouses and not just let them sit there. Also to educate our citizens, educate them as to what we need to do to, upgrade our community. Also, having, a change, just a mindset to change our culture. That's what I did when I was over at the school level. Change the culture of the way that people thought that they should be raising or utilizing in that school. So the thing I would do is to communicate, educate, and have those meetings that are very, very important that we have to talk about what we want and how we want to move our county, our district going forward. So thank you.
Ms. Reeves?
Thank you. So when we talk about specific plans to address things such as infrastructure, economic development, and community engagement, I would start with, it goes right down to the budget. And making sure, that in the 2025 budget that we have enough money so that we can fix our roads, so that we can fill in those potholes, and so that we can make sure that people can safely get from point A to point B. But when we also talk about infrastructure, let's talk about reducing traffic. Let's talk about slowing down these cars that are driving down Rex Road and Nola and Fielder and Stagecoach. You know, so when we're talking about infrastructure, we need to make sure that we're talking about improving the infrastructure that currently exists to make sure that people can get from point A to point B safely. So when we have our children who are crossing the street when they're leaving school, make sure that they have those pedestrian crosswalks so that they can cross the street safely. If that includes adding in rumble strips and not the big speed bumps, but adding in some of those elevated raised speed tables so that we can make sure that we're getting from point A to point B safely. And when we talk about economic development, I just want to clarify something. I know that a lot of folks have been talking about the tier 1 status that Clayton County is in. But let's clarify, tier 1, that is a determination from the Department of Community Affairs. That is a tool for economic incentive. That means that every job these companies are bringing in the state, it's not coming out of Clayton County dollars. This is coming from the state. The state is giving those companies dollars to bring jobs to Clayton County. No, it should not be tier 1 forever. But while we have that tier 1 classification under economic development, let's make sure that we're bringing in those companies and bringing in those businesses that are bringing those high-paying jobs. And it also goes for the small businesses that are located here in Clayton County. They also can qualify for those tax incentives. So when we talk about economic development, let's make sure that we're talking about the tools and resources that are available for the business that want to into Clayton County, but also for the businesses and for the entrepreneurs and future entrepreneurs who live here in Clayton County, so that they can benefit from those dollars and that funding that's coming from the state. And lastly, around community development, community engagement, I'm an organist. I have absolutely no problem having conversations going forward for making sure that we are engaging the community. That's why I mentioned the 2034 comprehensive planning meetings that are going on. Those are the opportunities for the community to go to those meetings and to say, this is what we want to see Clayton County. Those are the portals for folks to voice their concerns and what they want to see in Clayton County for the future. Thank you.
All right. So no matter what the issues are, whether it is the infrastructure, whether it is the senior citizens, the strategies that I put in place, the same strategies that I use in my business. That's first, communication. Talking to the residents of the Clayton County, talking to business owners, talking to churches and nonprofits, seeing what they want. Then we bring it to the table and see what we can, a plan that we can work together with, that is suitable for all. Now, are we all going to agree on the solution? We're not. But then we build a proposal based on the suggestion that we got. And once we do that, guess what? We can try it again. And continue to try with the input of the residents here in Clayton County, my neighbors, my community. And when we do that, then we're able to continue to get the feedback from the community so that we are all in it together. Cause if we're divided, we are together. And if we can do it together, and if we mess up, that's what we can do it again. Because we're gonna do this all together, and that's what we have a wealth of knowledge on the campaign trail as I engage with the community. I got a wealth of knowledge, who has been here all their lives, that's cemented their legacy in here. And it would behoove me if I don't utilize the wealth of resources that is in this community. So, as we get the information, we build a proposal, then we try it and see how that goes. But then we utilize our resources with grants and funding from different places. Utilize the relationships that I've gotten over the years in business, so that we can generate a clear solution for our residents. Because when we win, when Clayton County win, we all win. When I want to build a community where we all in this together, so that we are involved in the future of Clayton County District 1 and the community in our neighborhood. So as we continue with the strategies, we continue with the things necessary that we have to do to make sure that everything that we want in Clayton County is done. Right?
Mr. DeVoe?
Thank you. People first, we'll always leave with that. The community engagement, again, there's wisdom in the multitude of the council. We don't have all the answers, but collectively we do. We have the answers as a district. And I will always be cognizant to bring the community into the decision-making process. However that's built out, be it a survey, be it a meeting, town hall, or what have you. We've got to let people know that you guys are driving the ship. This board, who's ever elected, they're not driving the ship, you are. And then we look at economic development. Here's a thought, if a business come in here, again, let's leverage that tier 1 tax status. I think that, again, you don't want to sit there forever, I agree. But let's leverage it to our advantage to get businesses in. But how about also in that business coming in, there's something written into the development plan that at some point you invite an apprenticeship program for the youth of this community. So maybe there's jobs at that businesses that you can come in, whether it's on a summer program or what have you, or even in a limited capacity where seniors want to work. In other words, that business, if they're going to serve us, let's again pull all we can to that we all benefit from there. And then infrastructure. Also, if someone wants to develop, be it a mixed use income, be it a distribution center, let's build in the language of that contract that you've got to contribute to the widening of the road if necessary, to make more sidewalks. We want to live in a walkable community. I hear that from our seniors all the time when I'm out jogging. We want to have a community that is pedestrian friendly, that is friendly toward the residents here. Again, we can ill afford to be so business heavy and light on what the people want. So again, putting people first, it can be there can be a healthy balance between bringing new businesses in, leveraging what benefits we can, that they can too help with the tax code as well. But ultimately, we want to ensure that people are first. Thank you.
Our next question is an audience question that will be asked in lieu of our commissioner question, as it's not very simple. What is your vision for better roads, less logistical warehouses, and use supplementing vacant terminals? We will start with Dr.
Well, definitely, I think we need more bumper We need more speed step bumps in this city. I mean, my wife and I hear the screams, the tires, screaming all night long up and down 675. We come out of the house and ride around District 1, we see the tire marks all over the street, all over the parking lots. It's like, you know, it's too much hanging in cars and people that have wrecks on purpose. It's too much going on out there. I would address that by making sure that the police begin to look into that and investigate that, put some officers out there and figure out who's doing that and stop. It can be stopped, just do what needs to be done. I think we have a lot of young people involved and they don't have a lot to do. And some of them are just, you know, angry, some of them need a better path. But I think that we need to address it through our policing department. 2 minutes. What was the second thing you asked?
Less logistical warehouses and use of the many vacant strips.
Okay, the warehouses, we don't make any money on the warehouses. They're not being taxed, that's why they keep coming this way. We need to slow that down. We need to make sure that these warehouses don't spend all this money building a warehouse and they're pretty much empty for about a year, it looks like, or close to it. And it doesn't do us any good. So we need to slow that down. We've got enough now for a while. Let's buffer that and let's look at what other options that we have available in the pipe. We need to be concerned about economic development, and I know you gave me a first one, but you know, I'm 74 years old, so I have some written down. I in front of me be able to remember the first thing you said. 1 minute, I can do that in 1 minute. Let me pick up the mic. Who's first?
What's your vision for better roads, less logistical warehouses, and use of the many vacant strips?
Okay, strip malls, thank you. Too many of them, but again, it's economic development. It's not getting the programs that's available out there to our small businesses. We're looking at the big picture, but we're looking over the small picture. Those businesses that have been around for years in Clayton County, District 1, still need to be supported. A lot of that is traffic. A lot of that is traffic, a lot of that is advertising, about 30 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, very good, 13. So, I mean, I think that bringing the small businesses together, just like in the community, will help to develop communication between the BOC and small businesses. Thank you.
And before you repeat the question, I wanted to just say, as far as the tier 1, that just brings me back, and I just want to go back to life right now. We can say that the tier 1, it brings in, you know, the taxes and things like that. But how long are you going to, I remember back in the day when I was struggling and I was food sales. How long am I gonna stay on food sales?
Excuse me, Ms. Walker, you're allowed to talk about the tier, but I just want you to know that it goes into your time. With the question that he's asking, okay, so I asked for the stop of time, so I can say that,
Okay,
so I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
okay, thank you. But I just wanted to say that I want us to, it's a new culture, just to have a new mindset, a new vision for our District 1. So if you can go back to that for this question, thank you.
What is your vision for better roads, less logistical warehouses, and use of the many vacant strips?
Okay, the warehouses and the strip malls, that goes back to, the strip malls beautification. In order to, for people to even want to be a part or go into those strip malls, they look a hot mess. You know, beautification, put something where it's gonna be attractive to people that want to come in and, put a business there. The warehouses, it's just too many of them. You know, they're like, my counterpart said, they're just sitting there. They're sitting there, they're not being utilized. So we've got to find, ways and means to utilize those, warehouses, the roads. The roads are just simply not where they need to be. So in order for that, you've got to work with code enforcement and things like that in order to get these roads back up to where they need to be. So, just to work with the different departments, the different directors that are in these departments. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I know this is another three-part question. When we talk about the warehouses, I'm not just, I don't want us to dismiss the warehouses because they do bring jobs. I live right down the street from one of those temporary job placement centers, and I know that there are individuals who go there, who work at the warehouses, as day laborers. But when we look at places like Camp Creek and College Park, they have industrial parks. So that when we have warehouses in one dedicated area. So that when we have those residential areas and we have those houses, again, we're creating a space where people feel like they live in a community. And I just want to clarify because we do collect taxes on the warehouses and the supplies that are kept in those warehouses. Because last year, we all voted for it. Everybody remembers on the ballot, the Freeport tax exemption, those 4 questions on the ballot that were written like legalese. Well, those ballot questions, what they did and what Clayton County now does starting January 1 is that we collect 20% of taxes on the items that are stored in those warehouses. And those are the types of initiatives that we need to be doing in Clayton County to make sure that we're bringing in different streams of revenue and it's not all coming from our property taxes. And as far as those vacant strip malls that we all see up and down Jonesboro Road and on Lake Harvard, well, we need to make sure we're giving code enforcement some teeth. We're making sure that they can go out and that they can hold those commercial properties accountable for keeping those areas clean. But let's also utilize those large parking spaces. Maybe that looks something like bringing in some food trucks and the food trucks that are at the gas stations, you know, let's bring those all together so that we're supporting the local Clayton County entrepreneurs and businesses. And even in Stockbridge and Henry County, they have a drip coffee, which is a drive-through coffee, which is in the parking. So we're already utilizing the space in those parking lots. And I believe the last question was about roads. Oh, I can talk about sidewalks and driving, widening our streets. I mean, I would love to talk about how we need to make sure that we're improving our infrastructure because we do need to live in a community that's walkable. That not only benefits our seniors, it benefits our young folks. I currently chair the MARTA Citizens Advisory Board, and we have the opportunity, we're getting bus rapid transit that is going to make sure that folks will be able to travel around Clayton County, not add additional cars on the road, but be able to get on a MARTA public transit service that, again, taking cars off the road, alleviating traffic and helping maintain our infrastructure.
What is your vision for better roads, less logistical warehouses, and use of the many vacant streets?
So for the infrastructure, everybody wants better roads, right? Sidewalks, street lights, all that goes into the safety of our residents here in Clayton County. So when we start to do that, and make it more walkable, that just brings more and better people to our district. What we'll do, my vision for the vacant businesses, or vacant buildings, is to use it as an incubator to support the youth. Use it as, I'm pretty sure there's small businesses. My daughter's in the artist, she's a small business owner. And if you can use that space to display her unique talent being a business owner. Also, like you said, the food truck, have a food truck park. There's a lot of small businesses in this county that with our support, we can grow, like a Pinky, Bloody Vegan, who started with just a food truck, and now it's a nationwide business. So those are the talents that we have here, right in Clayton County. So let's develop that, let's enhance that, let's continue to foster those dreams. So that's my vision for the vacant. And then for the property that has just been hit, revisit the policies, and then we'll be able to hold them accountable. Code enforcement, allowing them to keep the buildings up kept. So that we can see that, at least beautify the area. There's buildings that's been sitting for years with nobody using them. Let's utilize that. Let's see what's going on. Let's hold them accountable. And we have to do that. Like I said, I'm just one voice, but together, we can make a loud noise to make the changes that we need for Clayton County. Thank you.
Lake County has financial policy built on 8 various departments, but particularly I'm gonna lift up debt administration and investment administration. I think we should partner with these departments to see where we can bring in funds to help develop and widen our road. Again, what I hear when I'm talking to citizens out there, they want to have a community that's walkable. And I would much rather, and I'm echoing their sentiment, I would much rather hear the sound of kids playing in a ballpark than trucks backing into a dock. So if there's a strip mall and we see that it's been sitting in a dilapidated state for X number of times, I think we should consider, is it best to just level the whole place and build a park where people can go and assemble, whether it's a baseball park, basketball park, those are some things that we can consider. And again, the roads and malls and strip malls, all that's there, we can leverage it. I would again put people first and partner with the community to see what is the wisdom that the community wants. If it's a scenario where we level the whole place, then build a park, so be it. Or does the citizen want to revamp that whole structure to make it a place where we can have restaurants and places that we can go and spend our tax dollars? I get tired of driving all the way to Henry County, Fayette County for some services. We can have those here. So I just think again, it's just simply partnering with you, the people, to see what can we have in our community to help our community be more attractive to families. Again, yes, let's leverage the fact that we are close to the airport and close to all of the infrastructures and highways, but let's have a healthy balance that we can bring in people. So that would be my thoughts to it, people first, thank you.
So let me be realistic and tell you the truth. I understand everybody has what their vision is, but I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. Point number 3, under the 24 points, under the board of, whatever the commission role is to abolish roads and also protect the roads. And so on this end, what I would actually do, go to the citizens that are being representative, we would go to the, I would step down, even though it's still the commission, but we need to protest and do whatever we have to do so that the other commissioners can hear us. Because, for example, Brent Road, in the Brent Road, behind the Walmart, all the way down into Conley, cut off the Brookgate crossing, that can be right there, it's like 3 or 4 subdivisions. When I met with them, they said continuously the roads are dilapidated. They tried to talk to people, whether it's the previous commission, they tried to talk to other people, deaf ears. And so my thought process is that, again, they won't listen to one commissioner, they won't listen to a community of people. And so one thing politicians don't like, they don't like bad publicity. And so what we're gonna do, a group of us, go to the chair, Jeff Tom, whoever it may be, and also speak to some of the other commissioners, because we want our roads to be effective. The logistical centers that are behind there want to mess up the roads, so it should be their responsibility to fix it, not us as the taxpayers. That's one thing. The second part, about the strip malls. So the first thing I would do is, which I've already met with 2 mayors, Mayor Dodson and Mayor Lample, Mayor Morrow, Lake City, because those strip malls, those empty strip malls in their areas, see if we can come up with some type of plan so we can attract businesses in the area. Let's be honest, I'm being completely transparent. I don't necessarily know anything, but the best people to tell me that we want to strip malls, but people live there. So for me coming up with solutions, it would be a new point because I don't live in that area. It would be better for me to actually speak to the people in that area. Because if you go down to 75, there's exit 216 on down, you see Tango Outlet. when Henry County, you know, you think about every single thing that's going on in Henry County. When you go down 75, you see probably like 5 miles away, you see Taylor Outlet, which is where everybody goes. They get their coach and bags and whatever the case may be, so which that could potentially happen in Morrowind Lake City because we can transform those empty strip malls. Logistical centers, I know people are bringing up your tier 1, and let me be very clear. So to be proud that we receive money from the government to pay somebody $12 an hour, that's not good. So, you know, people can boast about tier 1, it is not going to be on tier 1 status. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Paying somebody $10 an hour, $11, they're still going to be on our public health care, they're still going to be receiving public services, so it's not.
Thank you.
Our next question is one from the audience. How do you stand on the county taking our trash pickup? Starting with Ms. Walker. How do you stand on the county taking our trash pickup?
Is this mandatory? Is it, we talking about mandatory? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
The county contract, county managing.
Yes.
Okay, managing our trash. pickup. When I lived in the Cap County. And it was, for me, it was better to have us on a trash pickup, because then you didn't have to go out and get your contractor to pick up your trash. It was already in all of our, in taxes and things like that. So for me, I think that it's a great thing, because you don't have to go out there and try to find your own, trash contractor, and going through my neighborhood. They don't really, they have the trash, they have for it, we have to go back and pick the trash up. And they're not being held accountable. If we have contractors, we can hold those contractors accountable, because we know who's in those areas that are picking up those trash. Right now, anyone can can contract whomever they choose to get that trash, but we don't know who those people are. But if we have those contractors, and then we can always say, hey, you know, if you're talking to your commissioner, and you say, hey, they're not doing a great job, then we can go to those contractors. So thank you.
Thank you. And also, I want to commend the Youth Commission for these incredible questions. I know this is an audience question. But one of my frustrations was how after over a decade of conversations about how to deal with the trash collection in this county, the actual vote around mandatory trash pickup and the process for selecting a vendor, that vote took place a week before Christmas. It was one of the last meetings of the Board of Commissioners. So if this is something that the entire council wanted, then we need to make sure the Board of Commissioners should be sure to be transparent and ensure that this is something that the entire community and the entire Clayton County wants. But I'm gonna be honest, I live in the city limit. I live within the city limits. So yes, the city collects my trash, but 80% of Clayton County residents live outside of city limits. And so when we talk about mandatory trash pickup, that is affecting the majority of the county. It's affecting the majority of people who don't live in city limits. And I don't believe that we should take away the choice and the ability for residents to only have one vendor that would pick up their trash. Because some of the complaints that I've heard from folks is, well, if there's only that one vendor and they don't come collect our trash, then you know, those Herbie-Kirbies are sitting out for days on end. This is about transparency. This is about residents being able to have a choice. And at the end of the day, mandatory trash collection, it will not eliminate the illegal dumping that we see throughout the county. So that is what we are trying to address, and we need to have a conversation about who is doing the illegal dumping. We need to make sure that we identify where are the areas in Clayton County where folks are leaving full of couch sets, they're leaving their mattresses. That is the conversation that we should be having. And as far as who is picking up the trash, that needs to be a conversation that can happen district by districts. And say, you know, here are 3 select vendors. Here are 5 select vendors, and we need to make sure that every residential property has trash collection. And when we also talk about all of these rental properties that are being owned by landlords who live outside of Clayton County or some who don't live in the state of Georgia, let's make sure that we're holding them accountable, because if they are not utilizing the trash services, then it's the renters who are getting in trouble. So we need to have those open and transparent conversations around who is picking up the trash, who is footing the bill, and how do we cut down on the illegal dumping and the blight in this county. I believe that is what the conversation on mandatory trash collection, that is what the root of what it's trying to get to.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Willis?
First of all, give what I think is the best solution. I believe Riverside is the most populous, county in the metro area. Okay, and so in our neighboring counties, they have it. Not only that, they have recycling as well, right? And if we want to be, moving forward, county, metropolitan area, we have to start doing things like that. But secondly, that's my, but the very first thing, like I said, is my strategy is getting the community involved. Okay, I have my opinion, but you are the decision maker. So let's bring it to the table and see what we want collectively. And then if we chose one through our own procurement process and it doesn't work out, we can go back and do it again until we get it right. But we're gonna make these decisions together. And that's what happens when you have the community involved. Like I said, we need that community involvement because we're just one voice here. It's your voice that really matters. And we need that to make these important decisions. I have my own, but like I said, I'm gonna put my personal agenda aside for you. Because that is what we're doing this for the community to be our community first. Thank you.
Mr. DeVoe?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. When I moved to Clayton County, I landed on the side of personal responsibility. Not to let the county take our trash and make it a line item on our tax bill. Well, that was my thoughts until I had a neighbor in our community. Their trash literally sat out there in the summertime for 2 weeks. And we called code enforcement continuously. And nothing ever happened until 2 weeks. It began to draw all kinds of vermins and critters. So you can imagine, I was fortunate enough to live around the corner from them, but I can only imagine my neighbors living right next to them. This is one of the issues that I found when I was the HOA president, and we had to actively deal with those persons, and they were non-responsive, and we could not do anything. We couldn't physically force them to do so. That then changed my thoughts about the whole narrative. If the county's filling it up, then it's a line item. Now, that does take away some of the equity that I once thought having our own decision. But I go back to the people first. If this is an issue that is really a concern of our citizens here, I think we should revisit that. See what the majority of the citizenry wants. And then we can come together as a board to decide on how best to implement that. Because there are pros and cons on both sides. One of my concerns about the county doing it is, how do we select a vendor? What are the undercurrents to that? We want to make sure that the vendor, whoever we choose, there's no side kicks and things of that nature. We want to make sure there's no bureaucracy associated with it, so that if we, the citizen, have an issue, we can actually get a live person and get some response or some about issues or concerns addressed immediately. But I would look at again, just going with looking at what does the people want? Let's revisit that, if that is the chief concern, if you want to deal with it. Thank you.
So I hear people talk about the mandatory trash, and I'm gonna be completely honest. In front of 2 points. One is that you as a homeowner, you have the right to serve the things in your property, on your property, to some extent on the outside of your property. To have the government tell you who you should select, pick up your trash, what's gonna be next? Are they gonna tell you what alarm system to have? Are they gonna tell you what type of car you can't park in your yard? The issue I have with this is that this is a code enforcement issue. And we need to keep it what the responsibility is. If it's a code enforcement issue, we don't need to impact the whole entire county. Some people love their trash. Now, I wish they had recycling, it's a different story. But I don't think we should affect the whole entire county because I have about 2.5 acres and people do dump tires on my property and some other stuff on my property. And again, it's a code enforcement issue. I'll call code enforcement, and they can come out. It's still an issue, but we have to be very careful about what we're asking the government. Board of Commissioners, there are local government, what we're asking them to do, because once we allow them to tell us what vendors to choose, where will it stop? Because next, then it's gonna be, well, we're gonna put it on your tax bill. Now, we already got a homeless problem in Clayton County with the seniors. Do you not think that they're gonna come out to our cities because they got to pay the trash bill? Actually, some got, should know Mississippi, 88-year-old woman didn't pay a trash bill, just completely forgot. They sent the sheriff to her house to arrest her. Do we really want that here in Clayton County? Let's think about this, you guys. Let's seriously think on more professional issues. And I understand people want their trash picked up. I get it. But just be careful when you ask the government to come in your home to pick a vendor, to do certain things, because then there's no stopping.
Well, I believe in community planning units, CPUs, and Atlanta they call them MPUs. The CPU, in my mind, would reflect the leadership of the community. What do you all want to do? What does the community want to do? Lay out the plan, lay out the obstacles, lay out the cost, have the vendors come in, have the department heads come in and speak to us. And let's have a structure and process that will, at the end of the day, end of the process, will end up saying what the people want to do that's effective. So that's my process for doing anything in the county, rather than letting the onus be on the board of commissioners to make our decisions, all of our decisions, and then we complain. We're gonna have to get into the process. And the structure would be for me to start with a CPU, a community planning unit, that would address trash, that would address homes, that would address code enforcement, speeding, whatever the issues are in the community, it needs to be approved first through the CPU before it can even be approved by the board of commissioners. That's the kind of leverage I think that we need. And it's a cultural change. But like I said, I'm not gonna be very popular if you elect me, because I wanted to focus on us. I'm running for you, not for me. So I've got to represent you. How can I represent you if you don't have a voice in the game? Nobody's listening to you, and you haven't been had an opportunity to hear about the problem, much less speak about the problem. So NPUs, I think. I'm sure it's time.
Our next question is from our audience. Will you be a commissioner to listen to the citizens or to overtalk concerns presented? We will start with Ms. Reeves.
All right, that sure is a question. Like I said, I am a community organizer. That is how I got my start, in politics. Trust me, I did not set out to be a politician. I spent my entire life, my entire career in public service. And what that means is going out into the community, and that's listening to what the needs and the concerns are of the community. So as commissioner, I want to make sure that community engagement doesn't just end on the campaign trail. It needs to be a constant conversation about what are the actual needs of the community. And while going out and knocking door to door is an effective way to talk to folks during the campaign, I don't think it should end once the election is over. We need to continue, as commissioner, I believe that we need to continue having conversations with the residents and meeting people where they are. It's incredible for all the familiar faces who I see in the room, who show up to the board of commissioners meeting, who show up to the zoning meetings, who show up to all of the events that Clayton County puts on that is informing residents about what's going on. But sometimes folks can't make it to them because they, are taking care of their families, they are working, and let's be honest, some folks are just tired, and that's okay. Not showing up does not mean you don't care, it just means that there are other things that are going on in your life. And I believe that it is the role of our county commissioners, it is the role of our public service to make sure that we're meeting our community residents where they are and having those conversations and going to the neighborhoods and going to the HOA meetings. So as your next commissioner here in District 1, this is just the beginning of a conversation and it's gonna continue. And even over the past 2 years, as some of you know, I ran for this position 2 years ago. I got pretty close. And I appreciate all of you who supported me and voted for me. But I didn't leave the community. I didn't go anywhere. I continued to serve in the community. I continued to serve on boards. I continued to do community service and to show up in Forest Park, in Lake City, and in the city where I live, in the city of Marl. And that's something that I will continue to do as your commissioner. Thank you.
Listening to my neighbors, as you can tell, I'm a first-time candidate, and I have to lean on the experts. That is you. I have to lean on the one that cemented the legacy right here in Clayton County. Because without that, without the voice of the residents here, my neighbors, I won't be able to succeed. We won't be able to succeed. So, how does that look like? Continue to go door to door, engaging in the community. Also, talking to the HOA presidents, vice presidents. I talked to a guy, Mr. Woods, and he had the HOA meeting in the middle of the cul-de-sac, once a month. Yes, I'll be there. I told him, I will be there, and getting that community involved is how we're gonna be able to move forward and listen to one another. Text messages. Y'all might get tired of me, so I'm gonna be asking y'all a lot more engagements. But that's what we need to move forward. Text messages, surveys, newsletters, social media. Even to get the young people involved, I may do a TikTok for it. But we need that engagement. And in order to get that engagement, that is the recipe to move our county forward. And that starts with listening. All right, instead of having my own agenda. Thank you.
So how can we serve you if we're not hearing what you're saying? People first. That's just not a slogan. I live by that. Even as an associate pastor, I understand walking with someone through their trials, through their struggles. You begin to see the person. You begin to understand and empathize because you stop looking at them as a number or a name, and they become real to you. And that's what I see in this room. The conversation does continue after the election, and that's how we should be. That's what a servant leader does. And I'm troubled, again, 25 years at DeKalb County, I'm troubled at the fact that when an issue pops off, ghosts, commissioners are hard to get to, they're hard to contact with. That's not me. If you are afraid of people who elect you, then this is not the position you should be running for. I am not a politician. I serve my community, my country, even my faith group. My idea is simply engage the people, hear them, because I'm one of you. We all want to see this community be successful and thrive. And I have tough skin. The military taught me that. I had a drill sergeant yelling in my face 6 inches away, bad breath and all, just yelling. And you sat there and you took it and you understood, because whatever he was trying to communicate, you had to do it, and you put feelings aside. I'm so sick of seeing politicians get in their feelings because the people who elected them want them to address their concern. So my thing is this, I'm not afraid of the conversation, the engagement. Talk to me, I'm running up and down Rex Road, you stop me, I got time, I wanna hear from you. Because that's what it's about, being in this community, living, working, thriving, because we're all one and want to see the same thing in this district. So I'm all about community engagement, however format we build that out, be it town hall, be it meeting, be it whatever the medium is. I won't run from you. I'm approachable. Even as crazy as politics has gotten these days, I'm not afraid of my neighbors. Engage me, let's have that conversation, because when we discuss things as a community, again, there's wisdom in the multitude of counsel. I don't have all the answers, this board won't have all the answers, but collectively, we have the answer. So bring it on, let's have the conversation. People first, thank you.
So I'm gonna start with who everybody knows, and the quote is, believe people who they are, and they first show you who they are. Now, with the exception of myself, Mr. Willis, and the board, the other people here are managers, whether it's school board, whether it's county commission, whatever the case may be. I want you to ask yourself this: have they been to my front door? Have they made a phone call to my house? Now, it's been 2 years since we had passed the last election for this district. Have you seen them? Now, everybody on this stage, with probably the exception of Mr. Willis, knew that the previous commissioner was stepping down because she had signed up for the whole entire county last October. Her wonderful friend, Mr. One colleague, who's the board of the election, knew before all of us. So when we all knew, the first thing that I did, door to door, with my daughter, most of you know me, I traveled with my daughter, up and down the road, door to door. When I knock on your door, I call your name. I don't just say vote for me. No, I actually call your name, call your family, because I know your whole entire family's name. And besides asking me for your vote, I actually want to hear from you. It's important for me to understand what you want to hear, the board of commissioners. So what I've done, even before I got into this race, I called the previous candidates. And the reason why I call the previous candidates, and I wanted to hear what they had to say, is because oftentimes we know that first of all, we know only one person is going to be elected. That's it. And so it's important for me to get viewpoints from people who disagree, people who don't agree with me, whatever the case may be. But I want to hear from other people who ran pictures, because maybe they want to elevate something up to the board of commissioners that I don't necessarily know about. So for me, it's important to represent people where they are, and not to sit there and, come to you during election time, once every 2 years, or come to you when somebody's meeting, or come to you because you're mentioning that you're a wonderful community organizer, come to you when they're talking about the one man who's all over the county before January, which was last October. So I just want you guys to process this. For those of you who are online, for those of you who are in this room, just ask yourself this, with the exception of Mr. Willis, myself, and Mr. McCord, the other 3 people, have they been to your front door? Have they called you? That's the only thing I'm gonna leave you with.
Yes, sir. So I've already laid out that I want to have a CPU, a community planning unit, that meets on a regular basis throughout the year on different issues that are already part of the strategic plan, already laid out, bylaws, with process already in place. Now, the logistics, how we're going to do that? Well, first of all, we're going to use social media to communicate. If you can't make it, a lot of these meetings will have to be during the day and also in the afternoon. So social media will be used, technology will be used, SMS will be used, texting will be used, as well as streaming calendar meetings, the gamut. so that there's no reason that you won't be able to communicate with me and everybody else. It's important to have a system in place for the plan. If you don't have a process, I've got 2 minutes left. If you don't have a process, and if you don't think about the process as a leader, and you say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, but you don't structure it, you don't take the time to put the plan together, bring the right pieces together so that it actually starts and begins and can grow and become a part of the culture, then it's not gonna happen. I'm not a talker, I'm a doer. And so I've set my mind to represent you, not myself. Now, if I'm gonna represent you, I'm gonna have accountability. I'm gonna do it with integrity. I'm gonna do it in a professional way. It's gonna be different, because the county leadership is not used to doing it. And we know what the county leadership is used to doing, and that's why we're in the shape that we're in. We can change that. We only have this chance to do it for a long time. It may not come around for a while, but we'll be able to change the chairperson and some of the board members at the same time. This is critical that you get involved now, that you understand that this is your opportunity, not mine, but your opportunity. I'm put myself up as a servant to serve you, not to run against other people. Thank you.
As a service person, I know that team is very, very vital. Together, everyone achieves more. I have been a team player in this community for over 15 years. I did not just come out of the woodworks and say, hey, I want to run for an office. That is not where I started. I never even imagined being up here. But when we talk about the things that I'm going to do as your commissioner, that is to have regular town hall meetings, to have regular forums, to continue to knock on your doors. A lot of the you out here, I have met because I knock on those doors, because I make those phone calls. So you guys, if you put me, when you put me in office, I am a person that is going to be able to be reached by phone. You, a lot of you all have been to my home because I'm opening up my home to you all. I want to be a person that is proactive and not reactive. I'm going to continue to be in the community, just as I have. There's many days that I get up. I've been working for a company for a Fortune 500 company for over 26 years. I get up at 4:30 every morning, go to work, come home, go out in the community, continue to talk to my community, and continue to reach out. So I have been knocking on doors, I have been making phone calls, and I continue to do that. So as far as the open door policy, my door will continually be open once I become your commissioner. Thank you.
We have an FYI card. House Bill 581 will allow each Georgia county to provide a statewide homestead valuation freeze. The freeze limits the appreciation of property values to the inflation rates. The bill would also provide a special local option sales tax for each county to help with property tax relief.
Now it's time for our last question. Each panelist will have 2 minutes to answer. Why should you? Each candidate will have, each panelist will have 2 minutes to answer. Why should you be elected to the District 1 Commissioner position? We'll start with Ms. Willis.
As I said before, this is my first race. This is my first time running. And I chose it because I'm a passionate resident right here in Clayton County. A place where I've developed my seeds so they can grow into a brighter future here in Clayton County. I have my business that I run every single day, that I meet every customer, that I go out to every customer. I've been inside your homes. We talked about the great things of Clayton County. We talked about the bad things of Clayton County. And I got tired of sitting on the sidelines. I got tired of just talking about it. And I woke up and I said, I wanted to be about it. So the one thing you're gonna get from me is the passion to drive this county forward. I'm not a part of any cliques or anything like that. I am a resident just like you. I just decided to make a difference. I just decided to listen to your voices and bring it to the table. So, why my business has increased at over 25% year in and year out, because it's a fiscal responsibility, being able to understand the needs of its customers. I am a great choice, and the best choice, because I can balance the book, I can allocate the funds, and I will definitely listen to the concerns and the opportunities of Clayton County. Thank you.
People first. People first. I have over 25 years of public servant experience at DeKalb County, working with commissioners just as such on this board. I was on the other side of the table, if you will. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one of the things that made the bad and made it ugly in politics was the fact that politicians forgot the people. I'm running because this is my home. This is where I chose to put my homestead in. This is where I plan and have already retired and will continue to live here. I have a passion for the people here. And the problem that I see with government, big government, is again, they're not listening to the people. And that's what I plan to do. A servant leader. I would be honored to serve you. I serve my country, I serve my community, I serve the faith community. So I understand what it is to serve and hear the people. We can't fix the problems of Clayton County if we don't hear from the people. I'll say it again. We have wisdom in a multitude of counsel. No one person have all the answers, but collectively we can move this county forward. I would be honored to serve you, putting you first. Thank you.
So to the people of Clayton County, I'm gonna say this very loudly and clearly. We're not mediocre. And we need to stop accepting mediocre people. Again, where it starts is at the ground level. When the commissioner appoints individuals to be on safe committees, such as the Friends, it creates a habit for us all. What I mean by that is that it affects your pocketbook, it affects your wallet, it affects everything. So the reason why I'm running is because, again, we need some code of ethics. And we have to be able to know what's right and wrong. We have to be able to look our children in the eye and tell them the model of behavior that we're displaying. We have to be able to have conversations with people we disagree with. Now, I'm pretty positive on this case. I might disagree with some people. That may be the case. But I can assure you, I'm more than happy to go much with you. I'm more than happy to go better with you. I'm not. Because I do think it's important to agree to disagree, but still come up with the same goal in the end. And that is to make sure that Clayton County is moving forward. Again, I'm very specific about no more warehouses, no more car washes, and absolutely no more gas stations, because in the end, we are suffering. They're getting $10 an hour. And we're suffering. So that's one money.
I'm gonna stand up on this one, this is my last opportunity. Why should you elect me? You should elect me because I'm the most experienced. I'm the one who can represent you the best. I'm the one who has the plan, who's been from the beginning to the end on business, from that level, from the youth, working with the youth, we're working for the seniors, dealing with mayors, dealing with department heads, dealing with CEOs, dealing with the president of the school board, the superintendent of the schools. I've done all of that. God has allowed me to do all of that and prepared me for this work for you, not for me. We're in this together. I can't do it unless you elect me. If you elect me, 1 minute, I can do this. If you elect me, I will represent you and not me. My wife and I, we don't need to do this, but we do need to be heard. We do need to represent him and to represent you if I'm gonna do that. I take that assignment seriously. This is not about me, this is all about us. God first, and then we'll get it done. Thank you.
I'm gonna stand up on this. Our last opportunity, but first of all, I want to say thank you all for all coming out. Artist Walker, my name is a people's friend, and that is exactly what I'm running on. I have been doing this service work for many, many years. When people didn't even know, at the school, we would leave the school at 11 o'clock at night, getting prepared for the things that we had to do for our community. I desire more for District 1. I desire more opportunities, more progress, and more success. I'm going to be out there with what they say, like putting the boots on the ground. I'm going to do that. I will represent District 1 to the best of my ability. I will give you guys everything that I have. Did I ever expect to be here? No. But am I glad that God chose me? Yes. I am Artist Walker, and I desire more for District 1. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna elect not to stand up, but, I don't doubt the commitment of the candidates on the dais and their passion for Clayton County. But the county commission position at its basic level is a public administrative position. This job creates policies. And in my answers, I have listed those SMART policies, bringing it back to our elementary days, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Clayton County and District 1, we can't afford to have a commissioner who's learning on the job. And some on this stage have confessed to their lack of knowledge and not knowing the specifics or being outright providing wrong information. For some clarification, 60% of the Clayton County budget is collected from property taxes. The millage rate actually decreased last year because that was something that the Board of Commissioners decided on, and also because our governor decided to give an exemption, a property tax exemption to homeowners. Everyone in this room who owns property should actually see their tax bill decrease. I've been a homeowner for 6 years, and so I do know how to balance the budget. We talk about the fact that it's budget season in Clayton County, and District 1 does not have a representative to make sure that the 2025 budget adequately reflects the needs and concerns of what we need to have in Clayton County and in District 1. When I say that this is a position that creates policy, I got my bachelor's degree in public policy. I've served on the City of Marl's Urban Redevelopment Agency, Downtown Development Authority, and currently chair the MARTA Citizens Advisory Board. I have attended trainings from UGA and the Carl Vinson Institute. This job is about creating policy. And I hope that tonight that I have shown you all that I have the knowledge of policy and that I have the experience as a lifelong public servant and as someone who is an organizer, who believes in community engagement, not just during elections, but also throughout the entire year. Again, my name is Elena Reeves, and I would love to have your support. Thank you.
At this moment, we are out of time for further questions, but your questions are still important to us. We will provide you with the Office of Services email address, and we will send all the candidates all further questions and provide you with an answer soon.
The Clayton County Youth Commission would like to thank the panelists for participating in our Meet the Candidates Forum. We would also like to thank our in-person and virtual audience for attending as well. Everyone give yourself a round of applause. Please follow us on our social media sites for all our upcoming events. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
I'll now turn it over to our staff for final remarks.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, this one. All right, so I'm Nicole Horn, I'm the administrator for the Office of Youth Services. And first, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Some of you have been to all 4 of our forums, so thank you all for coming. As promised, if you've been on our Instagram, if you've been on our Facebook, or if you've been on our website, we will post the questions that the candidates answered. So if you read District 1, you read the chairman, the chairperson, all of that, you'll see it's posted. We will do the same thing. I'm sorry, District 3, but we'll do the same thing for District 1. I have all your questions right here, and we'll send them to the candidates so that they can respond. I would also like for all of our youth commissioners to come forward, please.
We'll back up, yeah.
Miss Sierra, Miss Ashley, and Miss Naomi and I would like to say, let me get out of y'all's way, that we are so extremely proud of our youth commission. Their term ends on Friday, May 3rd, and then we'll start with our new youth commission summer leadership training in June. But I just want to let you all know in public how proud I am of you. Your questions reflect from all forums that you do pay attention in board meetings. And that you are very knowledgeable about what's going on in your community and your concern. So I do want to say that the questions that the students asked were questions that they came up on their own from their experience in Clayton County from this last term. So thank you all, and everybody smile pretty for the camera.
For those of you who are wondering what our website is, the easiest way to get our website, if you go to Google and type in Clayton County Office of Youth Services. So again, we are not the Office of the Youth Commission. If you go to Google, type in Clayton County Office of Youth Services. We are the very first link on there, and there you will see more information about who we are as an office, some of our programs we offer, such as the Youth Commission, as well as all of the candidate forms, if you get some, and as well as the responses from the candidate. So the Clayton County Office of Youth Services.
And one last shout out to our Department of Information Technology. They've been rocking with us. All right. And good luck with everything.